Hello. I don't know if anyone's there yet. Just bear with me. I'm just getting I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just getting it up onto the laptop screen. This is the phone screen, so I can see if anyone's commenting or not. I just don't know how to do it. Just give me like 2 minutes. Hopefully 2 minutes. Might be like 5 minutes. Come on. I've got all nervous now. I can't function. How do I connect to hotspot? Take a deep breath, take a deep breath. I am here, I'm just trying to connect to the hotspot. Just give me like 2 minutes. Right, should be sorted, I think. So, Kevin, Dennis, Steve, Stuart, Chris. I honestly didn't know if anyone would be here, so that's quite good. So yeah, I'm still at Anchor. I've been here now for like 20 days. Can everyone like hear me, or is it not working? Yeah. It's not working on mine. I can't. I've got two screens, but yeah, you guys can hear me, so that's fine. So yeah, if you've got any questions, just fire them in there, and I'll try my best to answer them. I've somehow ended up being the fellow boaters. Yeah, I met some really nice people on sailing vessel Rihanna, it was called, when I first got into this anchorage. So if you saw the update before, there was a big rush and I had to leave the port and come out in some fairly bad weather. The same day I was coming in, another boat was coming in, and I spent quite a bit of time with them, and it's the first people that I've met while being on the boat that I felt like I had a bit in common with, because around here it's a lot of like big super yachts and big boats, and it's not so much a sailing community, but it was quite cool to meet them guys. Other boaters, other than that, you know, I think someone stole my paddleboard the other day from the boat, and around here generally there's a few sailboats, but half the time it's just power boats flying past. But yeah, that's how the other boaters are treating me. I'm gonna need some practice at doing these, aren't I? GoPro, I've tried a few times. Update electrics, engine repair status. Okay, so starting with the electrics, I came out, the battery weren't working, the solar panel weren't working, and I have like the engine battery and then the house battery. separate, because I've had problems in previous episodes you've seen where the engine battery's gone flat. So I wanted to keep them separate, so I've always got an engine battery that will start the engine. So when I first came out, I ran the alternator with the engine on. That was far from ideal. So while out at anchor, we do have it now where there's 100 watts of solar, and that's just about keeping the battery charged. And it started to, if I'm careful how I use it, I can charge the laptop from it as well. Can everyone still hear me? But yeah, that's the electric situation. The engine repair, it's now running, someone can tell me because I never know what it's called, but the RPM, it runs about 2/3, it'll run up to 2/3. Any more than that and it starts to die out a little bit, but it will run up to 2/3 now. So when I first had the engine, it just wouldn't run full stop. Then it used to overheat, and in fixing the overheating, something happened where it now won't run at full RPM. But the last few times I've run it, it has run up to 2/3. So I think maybe one more attempt at it and we might be able to get it working. But for now, my focus is just trying to get being at anchor quite comfortable, because ports are now really expensive. So being in a port now is going to be like a minimum. In the last 2 months, we've probably spent 80% of the time at anchor, and we came out really unprepared to be at anchor. So, but we're getting there. The solar panel is now charging things. We've got gas again now for the cooker, so we can cook inside. The air filter, I'm going to sound really stupid, it doesn't seem to have one attached to it. That might be the problem. I can see where it goes out and maybe where it should then connect, but there's nothing attached. Do all engines have one of them air filters? Have you checked the water intake underwater? The water intake is okay. It leaks like a tiny bit, but other than that, I did change that when I first got the boat. It pumps enough water. Hello from Brighouse. I used to live in Brighouse, so hello Asbo EP3 Type R from Brighouse. Did I miss anything there? The fuel, yeah, so the fuel system, the engine, I'm still working on it. It will be something I look at a bit further later in the month, once I've got like my GoPro back, really. At the minute, my focus has turned on to trying to retrieve my GoPro from the seagrass. Still in Germany, Chris? Did you not make it back yet? Germany's not so bad, is it? Whereabouts in Germany? Hello, Bryn. Sounds like you're running out of fuel at higher RPM. Yeah, I just don't... Someone's told me to change the fuel filter. The first thing I'm going to try when I get back into the engine is I'm going to try run a line direct from the jerry can. I'm going to try run a line direct from that to the engine and bypass the filter and see if it then works okay before I just change the filter, because it's not so easy. The filter's stuck basically. Oh, do you get some casual work? Just today, actually, a neighbouring boat that's been here a while, he spoke to the other boat that I was on about at the start of this, and he came over today. The guy, they told me that he works quite a bit, but it's a guy called Jack. He seems quite friendly, and he works on boats. So I was on about, he's getting his boat ready to cross the Atlantic, hopefully at the end of the year. So I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get my boat ready to cross somewhere before the end of the year. And I'd said that I would do a bit like gel coat work and stuff, and sanding, etc. He said he's meeting someone this lunchtime and may sounded quite positive. He might be able to give me like 5 days work, so yeah, that's hopeful. And on top of that, we might do some workshops. There's loads of like yachties that are in Antibes, the next town, and while I've got to do some work on my own boat, I was thinking about doing some workshops and charging people like €20 per person and do 5 at a time and see if I can make some money that way too, because boats are expensive, aren't they? Taking people fishing, I'd probably have to be a bit better at fishing myself in order to take other people fishing, but could give it a go, I guess. I've just had to get some scuba diving stuff because I'm trying to retrieve the GoPro, and I've tried spearfishing before, and I'd always say it was really bad to spearfish here. You don't see any fish. But after a few hours of trying to reteach myself how to scuba dive and getting to the bottom, I did see some fair-sized dorade, which were quite close. So we're not going to give up on spearfishing just yet. Have you checked the fuel bug? No. Bug? I'm not sure what it is. Fuel bug. Joining from Halifax in Canada. I've lived most of my life in Halifax in the UK, and everyone always says when I say Halifax, is that in Canada? Or is that a bank? That's the other one I get. Diesel bug. It's the bug part I'm confused at. I probably should know this, shouldn't I? Where's... when all else fails, we go with this. But it doesn't tell us anything about engines, so what's the bug? It's oh goodness, God damn it, it's diesel. Ah, that makes sense, doesn't it? A bug. Oh, so it would be like in the bottom of the bottom of the tank. It could well be. The tank is probably as old as the boat, so 1976, so my maths is terrible, but fairly old. What would you recommend? Just replacing it with a plastic one, maybe? Hi mate, how deep is the GoPro? It's not that deep. It's fallen into seagrass. I'm going to give it another go tomorrow. Today I got in there and spent quite a bit of time trying to work out how to scuba dive again, but I did for a little bit get down on the bottom, and I'll come on to it after. I got distracted by scraping the boat, but I'll get onto that. If I forget, remind me. But tomorrow now I kind of know what I'm doing. I didn't have a weight belt, so I used a kettlebell, which it worked. It's probably not what you're meant to do, but it worked. So I've kind of got the hang of it now. So tomorrow I'm going to go down and have a bit of a rummage around. I just need to get some gloves because sea urchins and all of that. You need to keep the diesel tank always topped up. I did make that mistake. It did once run flat, and that I did then after that have to re-bleed the whole system. So I've learned I need to fit really something that tells me how much diesel's in there, because I don't have anything that tells me. So it ends up being quite easy to run low. But yeah, I'm working on it. Ignore the hat, by the way. My other ones have all fallen in the sea and I needed a hat. Yes, look in the tank, use a diesel cleaner. So to use a diesel cleaner, do I disconnect the tank completely, put a bucket underneath, get some diesel cleaner in there and go with it like that? Channel sailing, because I love it. Had a good video on diesel bug and how to check for it and prevent it. Okay, diesel bug. I'll work on it. So get some fluid, put it in the tank. Get a diesel pre-filter if you don't have one. Use that in line with a jerry can to prevent injector clogging, install it in line with the tank after the test, and change the filters. You need to... Maybe what I'll do is when I've got sorted and ready to like look at the engine again, I'll do one of these and we can try everything and see if we can get it working. It's doing all right. I've got hope in it that it will get there. It doesn't have a pre-filter, so it might be worth adding one of them as well. But there's a few pointers on there that I'll definitely try when I get back to doing the engine. Did I miss any questions in and amongst that? Let me just have a scroll back up. Did you sort the card out? Okay. My bank card. There's that many problems happen. I forget which is which. Bank. Yeah, that's all sorted now. I've got an upcoming video how I did it. Somebody let me put. I use Revolut. I've not actually got a French bank account, and someone let me put the app on their phone. They came over to the boat for the day, and we got that sorted. So that was a relief, because it was one of them where I didn't manage to get the fraud sorted out though. Revolut did get back to me and said that it wasn't suspicious that I'd spent about 100 euros in McDonald's in one day. And trust me, I don't do that. It's tempting sometimes, but I don't do it. How are you finding sailing in general at the moment? Do you feel used to the boat and more confident with her? I've not had chance to sail the boat properly yet. Right at the very start of this, we did a bit of a sail over to like Saint-Tropez and back. When we got back, we tore the Genoa. It came loose and it all tore. And I know people say all the time in the comments, like when it comes to like self-steering systems, that I need a Genoa and get the Genoa up and it will help. And I'm just trying to find a used one that's the right size. But does anybody know, if I was to get one that's slightly too short down the chute down the chute, would it still work? I've looked on Google and I get like a bit of a mixed response from it. The boat tour, I'm gonna do it, I think, when I've got like a few of the projects that I've got going on inside the boat done. Really thinking back, I wish I'd done one before and one after. But I'm gonna do one after and explain what I did. But you'll have seen some of the stuff. I've got a few episodes that are half edited at the minute. So like the V-berth, I've got like a half edited episode, and when I finish it, that will be like one episode. The head, the same sort of thing with that. So that's the plan with that. But I will do a boat tour as soon as it's clean enough to do a boat tour. Do you mean a cruising shoot? No, just like a Genoa, but a slightly smaller one, unless I said something else. The heat, Kevin, the heat exchanger, that's what was making it overheat. I sorted that. That's all cleaned out and sorted now. The big light wind sail, like a spinnaker. Anything for a jibboard, you know, is better than nothing for now. So yeah, I've seen a few that are on eBay in the UK that are slightly short, but yeah, you're right. Like, I just didn't know if there's a chance that the halyard would get wrapped around the top because it was a bit short. But yeah, I've found fairly cheap ones for about £200. So you're right. Something would be better than nothing, because sailing with just the mainsail is like impossible almost. I've sailed with just the Genoa before, and that was quite easy. In fact, it was quite nice, to be honest. I used to watch sailing channels and think, Wildlands for one, they went on about it for ages, where they'd keep saying, they'd make a bit of a joke about never having the mainsail up. It's because it's really easy with just the Genoa, but what's not easy is just the mainsail. So yeah, it's half the reason I've not got the boat taken out of the water this month. Is I could have done it, but I still would need a Genoa to get over to Corsica. Yes, do that and we can all help. Okay, so when it comes to the engine, we'll find a nice day where it's not too hot and we'll all have a look together. Deal? I need some lights though, because it's very dark in there. Just to give you an update on the bottom situation too of the boat, because I've ended up renting like a scuba diving bottle and a few bits to go try retrieve the GoPro, I tried to give it a scrape on the bottom, thinking that the boat's probably not been out of the water for like 15 years. I've got half of it off just this afternoon, so although it won't be nice and clean and anti-fouled, I reckon I can get it so it's fairly smooth without getting it taken out of the water. Is that a good idea? Well, it's not a bad idea, is it? But will it make considerable difference not having the anti-fouling actually on it? When your jib is up, your halyard is tension, so shouldn't have any issues. Okay, perfect. So I'll probably order one of them that I've seen. Mine is supposed to be 10.3 and the one I've seen was 9.8, so it's not a big difference. I had a comment from Glenn when I posted the video earlier, saying not too many wines. Honestly, it's my first one of the day, so now I'm put off. Like, does everyone just think I spend all of my time drinking wine? Maybe in can, but we don't do it all the time. Can we get a what I eat in a day soon? You can. I've got an episode coming up where I recorded everything I bought when I was coming out to Anchorage and how I survived first bottle and how I survived the like 15 days. I had about €80, and €80, funnily enough, was what I received in and really kindly received too. I'm really grateful. In the first month on coffee page, so it was quite good to be able to survive the half of a month on €80. But yeah, I am going to do a video of what I ate every day during that. There's some questionable meals on there, but today I've had homemade kebab and I've started trying to bake bread on the boat, so that's good. First bottle, no one is judging. Well, in that case, cheers everyone. A lot of commercial fishing boats don't use anti-foul because they haul their boats out once or twice a year and scrub them. It's just bare gel coat on the bottom. Yeah, so it's not going to look very nice. I was quite keen on getting it taken out just to have that nice line. I'm not going to have that, but maybe we can get over to Corsica without getting the boat taken out of the water. That, I feel like sailing over to Corsica is going to be the big one. I've been obviously around these parts for years, really, because I worked here, and I think that'll be the boost I need to sail over to Corsica It was minimum 24-hour sail, so it will actually involve like a night crossing as well. I'm really looking forward to doing it. I just need to get the boat ready first. I only went scuba diving once. I was breathing that fast, the instructor gave me extra weights and sank straight to the seabed. See, I was right about the wine. Yeah, I tied the kettlebell around my foot yesterday and I let all the air out the thing and then I just started to sink and I was like, was this a bad idea? But we survived and we've now mastered a technique where we attach the kettlebell here and I think we'll be all right. Where did you do the scuba diving? Don't know what to say. I talk too much, I think, sometimes, but what would everyone? I've asked this already on a question before in like the community part on YouTube. I'm torn between going to Greece, Italy and Greece, or making my way down towards the Canary Islands. What does everyone reckon I should do? Barrier Reef, I bet that was nice. I did mine in Thailand and it was alright. I've actually got the book here because I needed to find it the other day. I did it in Tenote Bay and Shark Island, but there were no sharks. Live chat is quite cool and helpful. What's your next big boat project? So I'll take you outside. This is where everything goes wrong. So this is the anchorage at the minute. And I've started making this on the back of the boat. It's fairly sturdy. We need to add a few more of these poles. Thank you again to SV Rihanna who gave me the poles. But then we're going to add another solar panel up here. And we might add some wind as well, because what you do have around here a lot of the time is wind. So there's the days where there's not much sun, but I reckon one more solar panel, a wind generator, and then one more leisure battery, and then we might be able to add a fridge as well, which will be quite nice, because at the minute we can't even have cold wine. So Greece is apparently the place to mend boats. Maybe we do go to Greece then. Go to Greece, get your boat well sorted out first. Okay, we'll look into Greece then, maybe. It might be worth going because as well, if I would go the other way, when am I likely to then go back into the Mediterranean, I guess. Chris, sorry I have to go, making my way to Holland then the UK. Have a damn fine week. You too, I hope you make it back okay. It's been a while now. But yeah, thanks again, Chris. You've like always a big help and you always comment, so thanks for that. And I hope you get back to the UK safely. So yeah, that's Kevin, that's the next big boat project, is getting the electrics so that I can maybe get the fridge working and stuff. I know a fridge isn't the be all and end all, but when it's starting to get a bit warmer too, just being able to like keep things cool will be helpful. And I need to add a sewage tank as well. Probably shouldn't go into that too loud because it'll involve admitting some things I maybe don't want to admit. Changing Shang, I don't even know how to say it. The one beginning with SH. I'll Google the right word. Just bear with me. My mum's trying to send me a message. I told her I was doing, like, Mum, I'm doing a live stream. She didn't know what I was on about, but the visa, is that what we're on about? The visa, this thing. Yeah, that's the one. Luckily, I don't know where it is. Somewhere. I have a 5-year residency, so I am really lucky in that sense. I worked the year Brexit was happening and COVID happened. I got quite lucky and I got a 5-year residency visa. The only thing with it is I do need to start thinking about actually paying into the French system through it, because I don't really want to lose that visa. It's like gold dust. But yeah, luckily I'm like technically a French resident, although because I live on a boat I don't have an address and it's making some complications, but we'll look at getting that sorted out. But for now, I'm when I get into the airport, for instance, when I last flew here, I showed my residency and I was like, do you need to stamp something? And they're like, no, you live here, so I technically live in France. Oh man, surgery on the leg. Is it okay? Just as well, just because I'm just silent, while I've got everyone, you guys who have obviously tuned into this, I really appreciate, more than I can say, that you've stuck with the episodes when I was in Cannes and did a lot of moaning. And someone did comment, I don't know if they're here, saying I needed to stop ferrying around, which is why I now make a joke about ferrying around all the time. But yeah, it was quite tough being there, and especially getting them dishonest people I did the boat work for who still have my tools. So thanks for sticking by while that was happening. Forgot to say, it's there. I've got AD and Lucas watching too. I hope you're all alright, and thanks for watching. AD who was watching, I was on the phone to my friend the other day and he was telling me loads of things. Don't start commenting all them things you were saying on the phone to me, or I'll have to like, and on, it was you telling me to stop ferrying around. In an upcoming video, when I actually saw that, I agreed, to be fair, so I'm not having a dig. I did say it's got a point, but I do also like to see the light of it, and now every time I'm doing something I maybe shouldn't be doing, I stop and go, I'm ferrying around. So it's don't worry about it. It's probably gave me a kick up the backside that I needed. So oh yeah, all good. I have things to do in my own boats, but I can't this week, so I can watch people like you do work on yours. I'm going to try my best. I filmed a little bit today on the phone itself because the GoPro's still at the bottom of the sea. I'm going to give it another go trying to get it tomorrow. But the footage, there might be a little part where the footage of this part at anchor is really not very good, because trying to film it on my phone is really difficult, because I really can't afford to lose like phone number 14 in the space of a year. So I need to protect this one. Thanks for joining, Kevin. The next episode, it's, if you saw my video earlier, it's exported. It might even be actually downloading as I'm doing this, uploading, sorry, onto YouTube. So it's on its way. I know it's late. I'm trying to like actually live from the boat. If I go to the library where I spent a lot of time uploading the other videos, it takes me like a long time to get there and a long time to get back, and then I find I'm just sat in the library and not getting out done on the boat. So it might take a few more days to get the videos on, but they are on their way. But thanks for joining. Do you watch any other boating YouTubers, i.e. Bumbling Sailor or Wildlings? Yeah, I watched them all like religiously for like 2 years, just wanting to go get on a boat. The Bumbling Sailor's doing like crazy well as well. Would I be lying if I said I were a little bit envious? Yeah, like he started posting just as I was thinking of doing it, but they are good, and I think he's done well with that. So I'd be lying if I said I were a little bit envious of the 13,000 subscribers, but we're doing better than I thought we'd be doing, so that's good. Wildlings, yeah, I do. Well, it's Wildling now, innit? I've watched, yeah, all of them episodes. Adventures of an Old Sea Dog I really like. I think that's because he moans a little bit, so it makes me feel a bit better about me moaning a little bit. The Sailing Frenchman was probably one of my favourites, but I'm not too big on the racing stuff, but I really enjoyed watching him do the Ecume de Mer up. Sailing Donkey I've been enjoying because he's got a little Ecume de Mer, and I know he watches this channel too, so if you've not watched Sailing Donkey, it's quite cool. And yeah, it's a little boat. I've always liked the ones where it's a small boat. One I really don't enjoy, should I say this on a live stream? I don't know, we'd be honest, don't we? I really don't enjoy Sailing Le Vagabond. I was on about this with some other people on a boat the other day. It's a bit too celebrity-like, I think, whereas I quite like the channels that are a bit more, I wouldn't say real, because what they're doing is real, but the ones that are not celebrities, I guess. Oh, Chasing Currents as well, because I know that a friend's watching this too. Yeah, I watched a few of the Chasing Currents ones. When I first started this, I quite liked that a gap seemed to be forming. You had like Wildling Sailings, they took a break. Chasing Currents have gone to land. And there was a few others that got to the Med and then never went and did the other part across the Atlantic. I'm 100% sure Mark will go across the Atlantic. But I did see like a little bit of an opening where I thought I could actually do it in a year, starting off with no experience. Realistically, it might be 2 years, but yeah. Sorry, I've waffled on there completely. But yeah, I do watch other sailing channels. Your boat to-do list, what's the priority? It's probably the sewage tank, to be honest. I'll go into it a little bit, but not in too much detail. I can't flush the toilet until the night time, and I use the toilet in the morning. That's all I'm going to say, so I need to sort that out. Other than that, yeah, a Genoa. What year, length and model is your boat? So it's an Aloha 29. It's made by Aloha Marine. I'm just looking at the sign down there. It's made by Aloha Marine. It was built in Kanlaboka, which is really close to where I am. You see quite a few around here because it's close to where it was bought, but you don't see that many elsewhere. It's 8.7 meters long, or roughly 29 feet, and it's actually 3.4 meters wide, so it's a fat boat, really. I don't know if I regret that a little bit, but I do quite like how it looks from the outside. That's what drew me to it. You will get there, you are getting better as you go along. Thanks. I'm trying. Some of the videos that I've done more recently that haven't been uploaded yet, I wouldn't say a bit more effort, I put quite a bit of effort into all of them, but I'd put a bit more thought into what I was filming. I actually got caught, someone caught me leaving the GoPro somewhere as I walked back to the GoPro, which was quite funny because they knew exactly what I was doing. Yes, Sea Dog and the Sailing Frenchman are some of my favourites too. I don't care for Lavaca, the Vagabond myself. I prefer the pure channels with less editing and more content. Yeah, I feel like, personally for me, they had an episode on the other day where it was all about, the sponsor for it was BetterHelp, and I feel like the episode was then obvious. You might have seen it a lot about it, and I just don't think it was very fitting to then use that sponsor whilst knowing that sponsor was paying them. I don't know. Obviously, people use sponsors. I've not had any yet. I'm going to sponsor one of my own videos, I think, soon. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's quite... So a lot of them go from here, and then the channels start to do quite well, and then they kind of lose a sense of what it was like at the start. And if I ever do that, Anon, if you're still there, tell me, and I'll stop. You're right, small boat's best, something to aim for me. I think around 20, I had a 26-foot boat before this, and honestly, I sometimes wish I still had a 26-foot boat. It was big enough, you know. I'm looking around, and there's only me sat here. There's loads of unused space, so I think 26 foot was big enough. It was just a really bad design. An Ecume de Mer for me. I really like the design of that. And what's that Colvic that the Wildlands had way back when? Before the catamaran? Does anyone remember? How to Sail Oceans. I've not seen that one. And NBJS, yeah, I know what that one is. I've seen that one too. A Mirage 24, 8-foot beam for comparison. Living in the Black Country near Brum, I will start in the cut. Sorry. Start in the cut. That might be a Brum thing. I don't know what it means. And on and on. Will do. You said you're in the arena. It's easy to be critical. Sat in the stands eating popcorn. Stick to your guns. I will do. Did I miss a part there? Yeah, Glenn. I will start in the cut. I should have brought like a sign, because I feel rude saying I don't know what you mean, but yeah, I don't know what you mean. Whilst I've got a few people as well, can ask, what, I feel like it doesn't really matter. I post videos at different times every week. Do most of you tend to watch it on the weekend, would you say? Because I keep thinking of posting on a Friday evening rather than on a Sunday, because I feel like YouTube shows it quite a bit at the beginning and not so much then. So if people are watching on the weekend, maybe Friday's a bit better. Or Canal Narrowboat. Before I ended up getting a sailboat, it was I was going to get a canal boat, and then I went back to work, so I didn't. But I still quite like the idea of it. If I lived in England full time, I think I'd have a little canal boat. It'd be cool. I could like just go along like the Yorkshire Dales. I quite like the idea of that. Probably can't afford 2 boats though, can I? Yeah, so it doesn't really matter too much then about what day it's on. Too crowded on Fridays. Okay, I won't post on Fridays. I always wondered, like, well, I know you do, but for this, did like everybody get a notification, or was it because you saw the little video I put on before? Have you watched any of the Tally-Ho, or I've not seen any of them? I'll have to have a look. What are they about? Both. I've just forgotten my I've just forgotten my own question. What did I just ask? Get both. Oh, you got both. Okay. So the little video and the notification. My friend told me, I was speaking to them just before I came on, did I accidentally say 2 times? Because if I did, I'm really sorry. I'm going to run this just beyond, well, just beyond the next door clock, so like 13 minutes from now, because I think I said accidentally at the end of the thing, 8 o'clock English time, so you guys can then all leave if you need to, but just in case a few people think that this was meant to be at 8 o'clock, because I'm not sure if I said 2 different times. It's because I'm on French time, so I had 8 o'clock in my mind, meaning 7 o'clock English time. Wooden daily boat built. At the minute, my I'm down to like 3, and I'm not going to say which 3 they are, because I feel bad on some of the other ones that I like to watch too. But I'm down to 3 weekly YouTube videos, just because I can't keep the laptop charged enough. So when I'm at the library, it tends to be uploading my videos or editing my videos, and I then leave the library. But I don't have the luxury at the minute of like just having the laptop on and watching anything. So at the minute I'm limited to 3 YouTube videos, and I'm not sure if I'm ever going to have that luxury of being able to just watch endlessly the laptop anymore without being in a port. It's only 3:48 p.m. Oh, in Canada. Was it Canada? Yeah, Canada. Well, I honestly thought this was going to go a lot worse than it has done. I firstly didn't imagine anyone would actually be here, so thanks everyone for joining. And I was a little bit nervous. Like, I was pouring this wine just as this thing started, and I was like, are people going to be there? And I was a bit nervous to come back around and sit down, but it's gone all right, I think. But yeah, just to give you an idea of the next couple of weeks, I'm staying put in this anchor. We've faced, while being here, every wind, even a fairly strong westerly. So I'm going to stay where I am, and I'm going to get I asked on a short video the other day too, and everyone who commented said, yeah, stay, there's no rush to get over to Corsica. and I'm gonna try while I'm here to get as much work as I can. You guys are still like a fair bit behind on the videos, so if I end up having to do a bit of work for the next 2 months, I'll record parts, but obviously I probably won't do like well, I didn't really in Cannes. I didn't record that much while I was there. But there's still plenty of stuff I can upload, so if I do end up just working for 2 months-ish, I will still record parts of that, because I think it's quite an important part of like what I'm doing, obviously trying to find work as and where I can. So I'll record parts of it, but yeah, I'm gonna probably stay here until I've got the boat as ready as I can before going over to Corsica, because when I get over there then it won't be so easy to source parts and stuff. So you're doing great, be yourself, it works, thanks. Sometimes I do think, oh, should I cut like parts out, but I have left most of it in. At some point I will do an episode where there's a few bits that I have cut, but it'll be like a one-off episode about like some of the really hard bits of like living on your own on a boat during the winter and summer. But I cut them bits out of the episodes because it was just a little bit, didn't want to make everyone sad. I'd already moaned quite a little bit, so yeah. But every time I get a comment saying that people like enjoy how honest it is and stuff, it does make it feel worth it. All the big YouTubers started somewhere, you're doing great. Yeah, like I'm 1/4 of the way now to like monetization. Again, that's something quite exciting for me. You guys might think it's exciting too, but something I want to do with that, but that's a story for another time as well. Because I wasn't that excited about monetization, so I needed to find a way to be excited about it. So I've always had this idea, but I'm not gonna what's the word? It's like I'm trying to keep a secret. I'm not trying to keep a secret, but I've been working on like a special like episode, and I've been working on a few people I've been working on it with a few people of what I'm going to do when the channel does reach monetization, and it's about helping some good causes too. So what I didn't want to do was say that at the start, because then I didn't want people to think you're trying to do that to get to monetization. So I'm not going to release that episode until the channel does make it to there, but that is the plan with that. So it is quite exciting to be 1/4 of the way there, and it seems to be happening a little bit quicker now. Like the first 100 subscribers seem to take like ages to get, and I remember getting to 100 subscribers and that was exciting, and then in the last month it's just started to build a bit quicker, and you know, because people join every time, they a few new viewers every time will then start back at the beginning, so it's now adding more. So it's working all right. Like I'm quite happy with how it's going. Really enjoying your channel. Sorry because you do have a few boat problems to get over. Nice guy. Thanks, Glenn. The boat problems are one thing. It's human problems, isn't it? Like, it really was a kick with a dinghy engine getting stole the other month. Like, more so because they deflated it in the water, and now I've still got water in the dinghy tubes. So if anyone knows a good way of how to get the water out of the dinghy tubes without cutting it, I don't really want to cut it. But yeah, there's water in there, and I mean quite a bit of water, so the weight of the dinghy, it's super heavy. So but I have replaced that engine now, so that's good. But I could do with getting the water out because it's super slow. So yeah, Gonna be here probably like 10 minutes more. I'm just gonna wait and see, and unless loads of people like thought it was 8 o'clock English time, UK time, then I'm going to go read a book. The Kindle is charged. I've been reading a book about a man who lived on an island alone for like, I've forgotten how many years, but it's quite a good book. I just can't remember what it's called. So a few people have asked about a boat tour video. I am gonna start a food one. Like, loads of people have said that, and people see me cooking on the back of the boat and say that I should do it, so I am going to start like a little, maybe might do a cookbook, who knows. Beards, boats and burgers, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that's the plan for that. But sorry, I got completely lost what I was on about then. So other than like a boat tour video, is there any other sort of videos people would like to see? I don't know what like. I'm trying to think. I'm gonna maybe do a everything I learned at Anchor in the winter video. But other than that, is there anything else anyone would like to see? It's fun, Stuart. It's funny how once you start learning to sail, it really gets in your blood. I bought a sailboat 2 years ago on my 45th birthday. I had no one to teach me, so I learned on my own, and I love it. Was you scared to like leave the dock the first time? Because I remember I spent months looking at the boat. It weren't this boat, it was like the one before, but I spent months just watching the other boats going out, thinking I want to go, but I was terrified I was just gonna bump into loads of boats on the way out. Full dinghy, full of air, turn it upside down and take the valves out. See, I'm confused about this. I'm not going to say it because I sound really silly. But if it's full of air, like, fully take the valves out so that they're not in. I'm not sure it lets me do it. I'll have to have a look. Mitchell and Mary Thomas. I'm bummed I missed the start of this. I've been in meetings all morning. It was I posted 2 different times as well, so don't worry. And I don't know. Can you watch them back? I think once it's ended, I think I'll leave it on. I'll probably watch it back myself tomorrow and realise how much stuttering I did and probably take it off. No, I won't. I'll leave it on. So I think you can watch it after. I have a car that leaked in water, drilled a hole in the floor, solved. I know that putting a hole in it would fix it and I could fix the hole, but I really don't want. It's not a bad dinghy. It's good, innit? Couldn't have done that a few weeks ago. Yeah, ideally I don't want to put a hole in it, so I'm going to do everything I can to not put a hole in it, but we'll see. I'm going to probably end up putting a hole in it. More info and vids on your exploring places you visit. Show us your sailing practice. So the next video is me exploring Ile de Lerins. So you might remember in a previous video when I was on my way into Cannes, I stayed one night at Anchor at Ile de Lerins and I said that I'd go back. And then in a video recently, there's me messing around on a tree swing at Ile de Lerins. If you didn't tell, that was a day messing around. I did that video thinking I just look really drunk. But yeah, the next video is me at Anchor at Ile de Lerins, and I explore the area. It's something I need to get better at, is actually taking the camera. Every time I say camera, I remember it's at the bottom of the sea. But But yeah, taking the camera when I do go to land, because I'm a bit rubbish at it. I am getting a bit better at not, I wouldn't say shy, I just feel a bit silly sometimes recording while I'm in a town. But yeah, once I start exploring, there'll be a lot more of that. But there's definitely in the next video quite a lot of me exploring Ildelerins and the island. There's 2 islands, and the one I went to actually has a monastery on there, and there's some monks that live on the island, so it was quite cool. They sell wine, but it was like €40 a bottle. And now you don't have to watch the episode because I've just told you everything that happened. But no, there's some exploring in the next one. Yeah, scared because I had no idea what to do. I sailed with the main alone like you were and realised it doesn't work very well. So the next trip out I put the jib and we were off and flying. I honestly cannot wait to get the Genoa back on the front of the boat and actually feel like I'm sailing. Quite a few episodes from where you are. And I might have put a short on YouTube, but I was, during the Cannes Film Festival, I was messing around and tacking in between some of the big super yachts, and they were like, nearly swore then, they were like all panicky, like, because I had the sail up. But on that day, there was quite a bit of wind, and the boat was actually sailing because it was all right with the mainsail. And it felt nice to actually be sailing, because a lot of the time during the winter I was doing not even 2 knots, and then it's not really enjoyable. It was just a slog getting to places, whereas if I was sailing properly I then enjoy that as well. And I do feel you get a bit bogged down then when you're staying in the same place, but we're doing it for this month because it makes sense. But yeah, when you get new sail and you're out trying sails, yeah, I will, there's somebody I think might come out with, it's really difficult I find when I'm out on my own to try record what I'm doing regarding the sailing. Obviously I need to get the GoPro back, if not I'll replace it, because it keeps me focused weirdly, like the YouTube part, so having that GoPro, it's vital. So even if I can't get the one back, I'll replace the other one. And then I might take someone on a day out so that they can show while they can film while I'm practicing. It's quite difficult to film while I'm doing it. Although I did stop and film while my engine weren't working at all, when it just stopped working, which I probably should have been concentrating on what I was doing. All dinghies I've seen allows you to lock the valves open. Do that, flip it so the valves are down and rock it and let the water pour out the valves. Again, I'm going to sound silly. If the valves, I know what you mean, they push in and push out. If it's pushed out and the water's not, if the valves are open, can the water still get out, or does the air just go out? AD has offered to be your cameraman. That's fine by me. You just gotta keep the camera still though, yeah? That looked like good fun. Yeah, the island trip is quite cool. There was like a little trailer to it at the back end of like the last video. 2 months after I bought my boat, I took a friend out who sailed her whole life, and we sailed right into the dock when I dropped her off. She said she had never attempted that in the first 30 years of sailing. I've never sailed into the dock. I've sailed into anchor, but that's obviously... I don't know if around here I would get... Oh, I can't imagine what to do if I tried to sail into a dock around here. I went into St Raphael port, that one I was in when these episodes very started, and one day I was coming in and it was super windy, and the Genoa it got caught, and I had to like just tie it the best I could, but bits was flapping out. It was actually when it got ripped. And the guy at the dock was having an absolute nightmare because he thought that it was going to come out and I was going to crash into all of the boats. But we made it. Most foot pumps suck the air out, so we'll suck water out. Yeah, it seems to go flat, but then the water gets stuck in all of the... I'd give it a go. I will give it another go. The hard thing is it's quite hard to do on the boat. Need to do it on land probably. Make sure the valves are at the lowest point off the bladder. Must have to have the dinghy on its side. No need to have it pressurised really. I'll give it a go in the next week and I'll let you know how I get on. So probably going to be here for another 4 minutes. Did anybody, like, I don't know, you'll have to let me know. Did anybody join late because I said 7 o'clock then 8 o'clock? If so, apologies. But like I say, you will be able to watch it back. And if you've got any questions, just send them to me. I do also, I made a Facebook for this. I'm not really a big fan of Facebook, but if you are on Facebook, if you search for the Sailing Yorkshireman on Facebook, and add the page, you can send me messages on there at any time. I'll sometimes post on there a bit more than I post on YouTube regarding questions and stuff. Luckily for me, the wind was coming right off the dock that day, so worst case scenario, I had lots of room and the wind was going to carry me away from it if there was a problem. That's alright, it's still brave, innit? Does everyone else sail into the dock? I'd be terrified. I'm scared going in when it's windy with the engine sometimes. But yeah, if I was to hit one of them catamarans, I feel like I'd just disappear. Because although I'd be insurance, I feel like they'd just be really annoyed. I know, I'm fully with you on the Facebook. Until this winter started, when I had to try find ways to make work, and that's when I then had to start using Facebook. Before that, I really don't like it, and social media generally, I'm not a big fan of, so I feel sometimes hypocritical, like spending so much time on YouTube, but I feel like YouTube's a bit different. I do have an Instagram. I've not really been using it at the minute, but feel free to like add it if you'd like. It's can I even log into it at the minute? I'm not sure. But don't worry, if you don't like Facebook, I'm fully on board with that. I don't like it myself, to be honest, but I've started using it to try and find bits of work. But yeah, I think it's onto private, so it might take me a while to get on, but if you search Sailing Yorkshireman on Instagram, it is on there. I just aren't sure I'm able to log in to accept. Great to hear all going fairly well. Good to listen and chat today. Well done, keep at it. Thanks for joining and the questions. I'm like, honestly, I didn't know what I was going to be able to say, and you guys have asked questions and you actually made it fairly easy, so thanks for that. But yeah, my phone's just flashed up to say I have 10% battery, so I don't want to be rude and it just go off, so I'm gonna say bye. Thanks everyone for joining this, because I honestly worried. And thanks again, honestly, I mean it so much, for all the likes, all the sharing, all the comments, and the people who have supported as well. It honestly, it gives me such a push sometimes to carry on doing it. Like, so yeah, thanks for that. And the next video, it is coming. There might be a little bit of a wait still, but tomorrow, if the sun's out, I'll set the laptop to export it. But thanks again, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Any final questions? Got like 3 minutes. Just gonna nervously shake my head while I see. Have a good one, enjoyed it. Thanks, Stuart. Will you be going to Africa? I'd like to. Yeah, I'd really like to go to Madagascar. I remember wanting to go on holiday for years. If I do go over to Greece side, I probably would cut over to like Tunisia sort of way. Maybe not actually Tunisia, but somewhere around there. So yeah, would probably visit part of Africa. I was just thinking then, Cape Verde. It's not Africa, is it? Cape Verde. Is Cape Verde Africa? No, it's not. Isn't it part of Portugal, technically? I'm normally quite good at geography, and I've been to Cape Verde. Ah. But yeah, Africa probably would be on the cards. Obviously the Med now, and I don't know whether I'll go up to the UK and then do a full back down to the Med and over to the across the Atlantic, so everyone can't say I cheated and missed half of the trip. No, I've said in a video before, sometimes it doesn't feel like cheating. I sometimes think it would have been easier and cheaper if I'd have gone and got the boat in the UK and got it ready to go from there. But yeah, the ultimate goal, yeah, round the world. I've kind of touched on it a little bit earlier in this video, but I'd quite like to make a YouTube channel that, unlike the big ones, I'd quite like to make one that does some good. I don't really like how like YouTube monetization or even social media monetization works, so really what I'd like to do is all the money that I made, if I ever made from that, go to good causes, and yeah, but yeah, sailing around the world and doing that, so visiting places where, you know, visiting places and helping, and you know, if I can go to places and then volunteer for a little bit, that'd be really cool. So obviously I'm still working out how I'm going to make it sustainable, but yeah, not realistically, the ultimate goal is to sail around the world. The first stop obviously is Corsica, so we'll do that first, and if we make that, we'll then do a slightly longer crossing after that. And if the previous few months had gone a little bit better and how I expected it, I love the idea of like sailing across the Atlantic in December, but realistically I won't have enough time to practice sailing and stuff. And although I am sometimes a little bit stupid, some people say brave, but sometimes stupid, whichever one, I also wouldn't sail off across the Atlantic if I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, round the world though is the long-term plan. If you ever come to Nova Scotia, we lots of room for you in my boats are Shed Bay. Okay, well, if I'm ever over there, I'll give you a shout. If any of you guys are ever over here, give me a shout too. You're welcome to hop on board and have a beer. So if you find yourself in the south of France, just give me a shout. The Vac Shop Brighouse. How long have you been in France for now? 12 years. So I used to go back to the UK during the winter, but I worked in the camping industry for like 11 years before, obviously, this is the first year not doing it. So sometimes as well, that's a good question, because sometimes in the videos back when I was in Cannes, that was like the start of when I'd normally have been going back to work. And it was quite hard not to be going back to work and not going back to something I'm used to doing for the last 11 years. So, yeah. Take your time in the med. Once you leave, you won't be back for years. Yeah. I know. I should really go explore the other side, because I've thought of that. If I don't go to Greece and I go the other way, when am I going to go back and go to Greece? The hard thing, obviously, around here is I've watched loads of sailing YouTube channels myself, and everybody seems to give this part a wide berth, and I always wondered why. And it's probably because it's really pretentious, is that the right word? It's everywhere you look there's money. We've just had like the Monaco Grand Prix and Cannes Film Festival, so I situated myself in the middle so that I weren't at either end, because rich people. And it's not just rich people, it's honestly, I was in Cannes, the overindulgence when they have them events is crazy. So, yeah, so because of that, I just want to leave, but that I shouldn't put that on the whole med, just because I've not really enjoyed Cannes. I can imagine you call France your home now then. Where are you originally from before you set sail? Yeah, so do I call France home? It's a tough one, because someone said to me like in the middle of last year, like, oh, your home's there, and really it was, I had a job here and a boat here, but the boat was only possible because of the job. So when this winter came around, there was quite a question of where is home, like, you know, it's, I live on the boat, but like I suddenly found myself in the south of France and I didn't know anyone, and you know, I couldn't call up a friend and go and have a beer. I was literally just here on my own. So is that home? I'm not too sure. Good question. But before that I lived in Soby Bridge near Halifax. I think the only polite way to like bring this to an end is I'm here, I've got about 4%. So if you guys have like asked everything you want to ask, you can leave. I don't know how else to say it, because I'd feel rude if I just left and there were still people watching. But I am going to say bye, just because if my phone goes off, I didn't want to not say bye. When's your next live? Maybe when troubleshooting the engine. I think if I can't get it sorted, I'm going to schedule a live and you guys are all going to help me, and because how many times have I had that engine door off and posted a video of my head inside the engine. See you soon, Vac Shop Brighouse. troubleshooting during a YouTube live would be hilarious, and the amount of swearing I've done while in that little part where the engine is probably dangerous for YouTube.